I chose Do You Know Where I Am by Sherman Alexie. The theme I chose was relationships. The first quote is, Sharon and I were in love and happy and young and skinny and beautiful and hyperliterate. I chose this picture because it represents how happy and young and in love they were. The next quote I chose was, Sharon never spoke. I can only guess at her emotions, but I imagine she was shocked and hurt by my disloyalty. I chose this picture because it could represent Sharon's different emotions and how the husband has to guess her emotions. The next one I chose was, but there were other secrets, of course. Sharon kept most of hers and I kept most of mine. This picture, I chose it because it obviously represents the secrets that they keep and how they keep them to themselves, because only themselves can share it if they would like, so they only have the key to open or share. The next one I chose was, we paid our taxes, owned a modest home, and made love an average of 3 times a week. I chose this picture because it represents life and how adults or people go through their life, like paying the taxes, you're growing, owned a modest home, you're growing, and obviously the last part, you're still growing, so it's just an adventure. The next one I chose was, wouldn't my wife and I hold entirely different standards for what a man made good or great? I chose this one, just this picture, because it's the different views or the different how they hold different standards for what made a man good or great. The next one I chose was, a small moment of intimacy, but enough to keep me from running out of the room and house and fleeing down the street. I chose this picture because it reminds me of that small moment. This picture reminds me of like forgiveness or accepting or like understanding what might have happened. The next one, days and months and years passed before I would find enough stupid courage to ask my third question. I chose this one because it represents how long he waited. Days, months, and years. We didn't argue more often than before, but we did live with longer and greater silences. I chose this one because it's just a long, quiet tunnel. So it just represents how they lived with just the silence. I realized we completed the rebuilding project. We constructed a brand new marriage. I chose this picture because it's Legos, and with Legos you have this idea and you build it, and they finally rebuild and constructed an entire marriage, a new marriage. Last one is, our marriage became an eccentric and disorganized library. I chose this one because it's just it's not organized, it's a complete disaster. And these are my citations.